And Are You Okay is a not safe for work podcast, so any young listeners are discouraged from continuing. However, we literally have no way to track that, so do whatever the hell you want and enjoy the show.
I see what you did there.
I mean, sometimes it could be Jaleel White.
Sometimes it could be Mike and Ike's.
True.
Like, sometimes it could be on site.
Or it could be toddlers and tykes.
Oh, it could be fight or flight.
Okay, all right.
Get on the back of my speeder bike. So many options.
It could even be Ray, but as long as you're here tuning in, it's Annie. Are you okay?
Ooh, I like the outros, the intro. I'm fucking with it.
Outros, the intro. We did it. We did that. Okay.
Switching it up. I like it.
I am your hostess with the Sith mimosist. Oh, I don't know. That didn't really work. Anyways, I'm coming at you live from this weird recording time because we're trying to maneuver all over the place here. I am Mikey Two Shoes, as you like to call me.
Mikey Two Shoes.
I'm joined by the Rogue One, the Rogue Only, Matthew Porter, a.k.a. the Smack Talker Skywalker. I am the Darth Plagueis, the Rewise, as
re-educated
here. Yeah.
The re-indoctrinated.
Yeah, sure. I'm peering from behind a rock, and we're watching this thing called Skeleton Crew over on Disney Plus. But we are here to talk to you about that show. The first 2 episodes came out on Monday, December 2nd. They decided to throw a wrench into our plan, and we were kind of scrambling. And as you can tell, this intro is very unwarranted, unprompted, and I'm not ready, but I am ready because we have some changes coming. I think I got a little nervous, man. I was like, oh,
where we're going, we don't need roads.
Scared. We don't need roads. So we're going to
do not hesitate, show no mercy.
Oh, I like this. You're bringing it back onto track. All right. You know what?
Brother.
We're going to hyper dive right into this thing like we normally say.
Fresh off our 9 to 5, about to hit hyperdrive. Punch it, Shmee.
It's... I like that you said Shmee because obviously I know you're talking about SM33, but yes. Also Shmee is Anakin's mom's name, so it's kind of funny.
And as we referenced on a previous episode that I'm not going to tell you so that they have to go back and listen to all of them to find the reference.
All of them.
Jude Law played Captain Hook in Peter Pan and Wendy, and Shmee was his right-hand man. So that robot shall be Shmee.
It will be Shmee. And we are taking things a little differently. Like I said, we're actually going to steal something from our sister podcast, Dragon Ball for Life, with a 10-second recap where Matt is going to time me, and I'm going to go through...
I thought you were about to say Matt's going to do it. I was like, oh shit! All right, give me a second to figure.
I'll do the first one. I'll do the first 2 since we're doing 2 episodes. If you could, we're going to do 10 seconds for each.
I got you, brother.
The rest of these weeks aren't going to be nearly as problematic. And we got a new segment, and then we're going to go into a discussion topic. We're changing up the formula for how we're doing our reviews and reactions because we would assume that you're interacting with a lot of Star Wars content. So we're going to have a little bit of fun here on Annie, Are You Okay?
A Star Wars podcast.
Yep, that's right. That's what we do here. So do you have the 10 seconds ready, Matt?
I am ready, good sir.
All right, you tell me when.
And go.
Pirates attack a ship, a mutiny. Their captain, Wim, is bad at school. Neil has a crush. Fern is badass. KP is smart as fuck. These parents are oblivious. This planet is weird. The kids find an abandoned ship, and now Team Skeleton Crew's blasting off again.
So that was like 11 seconds. 11 and a half seconds. We got it on the second one. Are we doing both 10 seconds now?
Yeah.
All right, shit. Are we ready? And punch it.
The kids activate SM-33. Fern is the new captain. They travel to a pirate spaceport. Their credits are old and valuable. SM-33 is one hell of a boxer. At-Attin is a lost treasure planet, and the brig is a pirate jail, and they're trapped in their jail with Janet Jude Law.
Time. Ooh, there we go. Not as easy as we make it look.
No, it is not as easy as we make it look. Holy shit, I didn't even think I wrote that much down.
Yes.
Oh, man. Craziness.
I love it.
We're doing that again for sure.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here for it.
I listened. I learned. Clock violation on me. I'll take that. I'll own
it's all
that.
good. It's all good.
But it was my first time, so
it was. You did great, and you did too, back to back. That's unheard of.
We're coming. We're coming back next week.
We're coming in. You are coming in too hot.
Too hot. All right, so now that the 10-second recaps are over, and you should be listening to this after having watched the episode, so no spoiler warning for you.
Otherwise, you're a masochist if you're watching this before you watch the episode.
That's wild. So we're actually going to treat you to a new segment that we call The Good, the Bad, and the Ugnaught.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
I have spoken.
A new segment on Annie, Are You Okay, where we discuss something we liked,
Star Wars
something
podcast.
we didn't, and something random that caught our eye. So, Matt, since I threw this new segment at you very late, I'm going to go first with my good, and then we'll cover our bads, and then we'll cover something random.
Got it.
And I don't think we have plenty to choose from
so
this
much
episode.
randomness.
There's a lot of randomness. The good, in my opinion, in both episodes, for sure, had to be the subtle plugs that Mick Giacchino introduced from a score standpoint that paid reference to
especially in that second
Star
episode.
Wars material. Yeah, some older Star Wars material, but I really love what he's doing, making this feel like it's its own. The more composers that get their hands on Star Wars, the more DNA I like to see kind of like spread around. We're getting a lot of new and different takes on Star Wars music. There is something about Mick's score that feels the closest to me that we have been able to get to John Williams, and I'm kind of wondering if you feel the same.
I love it. I love it. And
It's
also,
so good.
This isn't my good, but just to speak on yours, just the little jingly bells for the kids theme, like at the very beginning. I love, I felt the vibes, and then just like that reoccurring pirate theme that just kind of just like when they went to the spaceport and it's just space pirates, baby. Like it doesn't get much better than that. Like this show was made for me, bro. Like when Wim was like looking out his window up into the stars and longing for more, I was like, we talked about this. Disenfranchised kids looking to change their stars, rise above their station, and stick it to the man is my literal favorite cinema trope. Divergent, Maze Runner,
get 6 more
the
episodes
Goonies,
of this shit.
bro. I am locked the fuck in, bro. Like I'm so hyped for this show. So did we do a good, bad,
We're
random,
gonna do
random?
good, bad, random. But I will
Gotcha.
say this is not my bad, and this might come off as like it might seem like a backhanded type diss or compliment, but it's really like, to me, I genuinely feel this way. These 2 episodes that came out are going to be the worst of the series. Like the trajectory
And I like
for this,
them a lot. So that's
the
a good
trajectory to this feels like it can only go up.
Yeah.
Like it just feels, it has that vibe of something that's like, this was a slow build. We needed that 2-episode premiere to like get us into the heart of what the show is going to be. I'm really excited to see where it goes. But go ahead with your good, buddy.
Ryan Kiera Armstrong. She is the actress
Fern?
that plays Fern. Yes.
Yeah.
She is my good. She is going to be a breakout star. She actually was in a Nick Cage movie called The Old Way, which fun fact, I didn't realize it was her until I did her IMDb afterwards, because like she just blew me away. She reminds me of we've talked about we've made mad Bridge to Terabithia references like on this podcast. She reminds me of the little sister she's done mad other shit, That's just the thing. I can't think of like what she's done more recently other than that. But she reminded me of that little sister, like the rambunctious little sister. But she's amazing. Like
she's doing a great job. Honestly, all the kids are like.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. The whole cast is killing it. But like she has a very commanding presence. Like when she's on the screen, like even if she's not like the focal point of that scene, like you're paying attention to like what she's doing.
Yeah. I think so just Kiriana, who plays KB, like has even for her short amount of screen time, like you can already catch her vibe. And she plays a great sort of sidekick. I hate to like shoehorn anyone into it, but her and Neil are kind of like the sidekicks to Wim and Fern.
With KB, to credit that actress as well. Is actors back in? I know it stopped for a while because it was like not PC and everybody was an actor, and then I feel like the term actress came back in the Oscars last year. Whatever the politically correct term for a female actor. If an actress is back, we'll use actress. If not, actor. Doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but I'm diverting.
Yeah, we want to be respectful. Period.
Exactly. For someone who's playing a character who, for a large chunk of her screen time, you can't see her eyes, she's very good at emoting, like without the eye visuals, like just with the rest of her face, like either the deadpanness or the inquisitiveness or the I don't think this is such a good idea. Like she has the visor down more than she has it up, and she's still able to convey all of just bringing big energy even with half her face covered. Which is a big credit to her. Yeah, all these kids.
There's an authenticity to their performance. Like for Ravi, who plays Wim, he definitely you can see why they cast him, right? Like there's just that like I don't want to call it main character energy, but there is an aspect of it where it's kind of like we've seen movies like this, shows where they're stumbling into something bigger than themselves, but they've always wanted something bigger than themselves. He fits that mold so well.
Who he is? Like literally, as I'm watching the whole show, I'm just like, he reminds me of Ty of Digimon.
Yeah. I totally get that. Yep.
Yeah, and then I just think back to when Ty thought they were in a game and he was just like, oh, fuck it, we'll just do whatever. There are no repercussions. But then when they figured out that they're not in a game, he like started doubting himself and started creating all the inner turmoil. I feel like that's going to be Wim's story. Like this is a kid who's always wanted more and now he's got more. And even with Fern, and I will get into like her backstory, being a kid of like privilege that like kind of does her own rebellious thing. I feel like Wim is like that small, like he like smaller scale rebel shit. Just like, a dime store, rebel shit.
He's a dreamer, right? And dreaming gets him into trouble.
He's rambunctious. But where Fern is with the shits for whatever reason, whether it is that we learn more that she's been through some more shit. Because I did find interesting when her and KB were getting ready for the race and everything, and KB was just like, hey, like, oh, you be doing some dangerous shit, my guy. And she was just like, what else is there to do on this planet? That line felt to me that she's not from there originally. Maybe she wasn't born on At-Attin, because it was given like kid who moved to a new town and doesn't fit in.
I hear what you're saying. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think that the way it's set up, I'm not quite sure that it's.
I don't know. She's not from there. That's just how when she said like, "Oh, this what is it?" Yeah, that she's just like newer, and is like doing her own thing, has her friend. But I said all that to say, I feel like it's perfectly teed up for Wim to like that Transformers 2 moment where he's like, "No one's stopping you. This is what you wanted. Now you're in it." Like, I feel like it's going to be one of those things where Wim is just like, oh, I wanted all these things. Now I'm getting all these things. Like, death is on the line. Oh, shit. And Fern's like, hey, brother, this is what you wanted.
Yeah, this is what you pressed the button. We told you not to. You pressed the button.
I feel like that scene is like guaranteed to happen in one of these episodes.
We gave all the kids their flowers. We can't not give Robert Timothy Smith, who plays Neil, his flowers. The acting in the suit and having to do like the ADR afterwards, probably like his job was maybe even more taxing than the rest of them. But his delivery is perfect. They really set up the relationship between him and Wim really well. I'm excited to see how he starts to interact with more of the cast and crew. But since we've gone through our goods, any final like notes on Fern since her performance stuck out to you so much, or do you ready to move on to our bads here?
Yeah, no, just like overall, like I said, the kid as an actress, she just commands like attention, like just her presence and everything, and just how she's like playing the character. Again, it's just like she's the cool kid who doesn't have to say that they're cool because they're just themselves. Like she just does her own thing, and it's just like, oh,
I could never.
Like what was that off Happy Feet? Where he was just like, oh, he's so accidentally cool.
I love
but
that.
Yeah, she's great. I'm super excited to see like what this character does throughout the rest of the show, and like I wouldn't be mad if she pops back up. Like even if it's like an aged up version of her later on with a different, like, yeah, Fern is my guy. Hey, I fuck with Fern. Like,
all right, we'll move on to our bads. I got to give a big shout out to Ray the Ruiner for pointing this out to me. And normally, and you will be surprised by this, because normally I'm the one who's like trying to put band-aids over the plot holes, but this really bothered me. And she mentioned it, and I was like, you know what? That does really fucking bother me. At the end of the second episode, when Jod force pulls the key off the wall.
Allegedly.
The fuck are you waiting for? Why didn't you do that sooner?
Yeah.
Like
I have theories.
Well, please give me at least one of them, because I'm very curious as to why that could be the case, because it's really bothering me.
So this would be a TV showing, meaning that there's a part that we're missing. That raised, because I thought the same exact thing. I was just like, oh, if you could force pull the key, why were you waiting for these kids to show up? Maybe my theory is, my theory is going to touch on other parts of the show, which I guess we could cover too. So I'm not fully convinced. I'm like 99%, but that 1% is a strong 1%. I'm not fully convinced that Jod is the captain that was mutinied upon at the beginning.
At the beginning? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, two things. So let me establish these 2 points, and then I'll give you my theory. Why not show his face? I feel like that was like done intent. Like, why not show his face to cast it out? But the reason why I say I'm 99% sure it is him, but that 1% is a really strong percent. I feel like Star Wars does this a lot, where they like leave shit ambiguous. Like Masmoke, perfect example. We thought Masmoke was supposed to be a thing. He literally was nothing. Like, but like
literally.
He was
a green fart in the wind.
Exactly. He was propositioned like, oh, is that Star Killer? Like, oh shit, is that something? And then like it left our man is it a resurrected something? But it was nothing. I feel like Star Wars does that a lot. Like they'll put something in Disney. We say this all the time. Disney puts shit places to make you think it's a thing, and then it's just low hanging fruit. So I would not be surprised if that whole, oh, is he or isn't he the captain, is just supposed to create some doubt amongst the audience, but then he is the captain, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I said all that to say, if he is the captain that was mutinied upon, my theory from that whole him force pulling the key at the end is maybe there's a bit of time between when the kids got taken to the brig. Maybe as part of like an agreement that he made with the crew that mutinied upon him to like get out of jail, is to like, it's a plan like to get back to At-Attin. Maybe these pirates are like, oh shit, like it's a treasure planet. These kids know how to get there. We need a man on the inside. Like trying to force these kids to give us the coordinates isn't working. We need a man on the inside. Hey, trick these kids, gain these kids' trust, have them lead you back, or figure out a way to get back, and then drop the pin. Yeah. That's like something that I was thinking about, which would give him a reason to wait to like, oh shit, I'm a Jedi. Hey, you could trust me.
Right. I think that is definitely something that, if it played out that way, would be pretty interesting. I like the whole, he's a plant.
Yeah. and because then you could tell the story about like he actually develops feelings for these kids. So when it is time for the betrayal, there's like, do I really want to betray these kids?
I like that. We'll see.
Yeah. So that was my, because I thought the same exact thing. I was just like, if you are a Jedi and you could force pull, why the fuck would you wait? Unless, and I'm also not convinced that he's not a Jedi. It could be a double 52 fake out. It could be he is a Jedi, was hiding it, makes us think he's not a Jedi, and then he is a fucking Jedi. What they twist? But that's your bad. Like him waiting to force pull the kid. Got you. Yeah. My bad. I'm sorry. Did you still want to expound?
I'm just gonna say if they don't find a way to explain it properly, it's gonna be.
Oh yeah, that's a 1000% a dropped ball like my smoke. Like he gets some smoke all over. He's Armor Smoke. Like this shows him smoke if that's what it is. My bad is. And I want to be careful to not bash anybody because, like, at the end of the day, these are professional actors who are paid to do a job. Everybody does their best. They got cast for a reason. So it's like, who is it for me to judge? I do not like Wim's father. Like, his performance for me, like, it's just not good. Like, it just, like, it feels... And again, it could be intentional that he's, like, acting that way, but it's just, like... I don't. One, he doesn't give off fatherly energy, which could be intentional, but also the delivery of his lines, like when he's trying to emote, comes off so flat.
Well, I think that's the other thing. It's like he's not emoting because, like, he didn't even seem that concerned when his kid's flying away.
That's what I mean. Like that scene, like, and again, like if that was the intent, good on him. But it's just like me being a parent, I know I would be losing my shit if my child just flew off in a spaceship. Right. So it's like, even if you're super straight laced and it's clear that like Wim's mom isn't in the picture. So it's just like, it's just you two. So it's just like, y'all are all each other guy. Even when that fucking motherfucker was just like, aren't you a bit old for bedtime stories? I was like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. Like, no, there's certainly aspects to that where it's like, this dude lacks emotion, period. But at the same time, like the delivery just doesn't feel as authentic as you'd like. And I, for anyone who would push back on your point of like, if my kid was doing this and like being like, well, it's Star Wars. Well, this planet is as close to Earth as we've gotten. So I think the interactions between the characters can be as down to Earth.
And I see what you did there. And not only that, like, you know, it's a fantasy like sci-fi show, but like, Star Wars at its core has always been about family. like it's like literally the Skywalker family, but like outside of that, like the chosen families, like the Lukes, the Leias, the Reys, the Poes, the Finns, like it's all the major Star Wars have been about people who like, you know, felt displaced and found family amongst like their chosen village. So it's just like, I don't care how, you know, uptight, stick up your ass his dad would be, you don't not freak the fuck out like when you're a kid. And especially matter of fact, here's multiple things. One, it's your son. That's the main, that I don't even need more other than that, but that's one. But if we're going through it too, spaceships, as according to these robots, are banned on this planet. So it's just he's in a thing that shouldn't be on this planet, and he just jetted off into space. And you're just my son.
Yeah, and we are going to talk a lot about At-Attin in the future, so I'll hold on to the point I was about to make. But there is no certainty that spaceships can come back, right? So
like you might have just seen your kid for the last time ever, I just wanted more. And again, like if that was his directive to like, hey, we need you to kind of be aloof and like not really a good dad, like that's cool. But it's like I feel like we've seen versions of the care more about duty than parenting in Star Wars, and it worked better. Like Mon Mothma's husband, like he wasn't a great dad, but like it played, but it worked. Like his performance like felt like, he loves his kid, but he's kind of like in his own shit. Like he's caught up in his like, you know, his beliefs and whatnot, what have you, and she's trying to make the rebellion and everything. So it's like we've seen versions of the you know, reluctant mentor or like the strained relationship between relatives. Like we've seen that, and it just, like I said, it felt like somebody who was trying to play it a certain way, and it just wasn't coming across that way. And again, the last caveat, just to say it again, because again, I never want to be
we're
the person
2 episodes
like,
in, right? So we're gonna give him like some grace here for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that if it continues to go in that direction, it could be a valid criticism.
Yeah, and if it's intentional, then everything I just said is a moot point. But it doesn't feel intentional to me.
Right. Say with your point about pulling the key with the Force, like it just. If you do a little, even just a little bit of explaining for either of these things, could make both of these bads that we've presented not really be that bad. And if that's the case, then the show's doing a really good job of developing the story in a meaningful way, where we come to the table in the next segment of the good, the bad, and the Ugnaught. Maybe we'll also be able to say like, hey, we're gonna put that
I love Wim's dad.
Yeah, we're gonna put that take in the grave, and we can all like, wah, 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 wah. You know, but we'll see when we get there. So let's move on to the Ugnaught of this, which is our random thing that we just really like. And I gotta admit, obviously, I think for me, SM33 stole the show. But one really weird quirk that just I love is like the weird rat thing that like lives inside him.
That was my thing. His rat eye. That was my thing.
Rat eye. Yeah, I don't know what that thing's called. I gotta have to like look into because if you don't know this, Star Wars puts out a data bank after every episode that drops of television, whether it's animated or live action. I really want to see like what that thing is, so I can know what the actual species of that weird rat thing is. I have a theory about it, about why it didn't pick up the key. I think it's going to find SM33 and like reactivate it while they're making their escape next episode. So
we did see in one of the teaser clips, we do see what I would imagine is like a very shortly thereafter scene where they're like in the ship and like, oh, we have to go back for our robot friend. And he was like, oh, so Joe, remember? I think you sent me that clip. Or maybe I watched it by myself and made it in my
marketing material, and I gotta admit, like there was a lot to digest.
Well, there was a sneak preview clip of Jod and the kids on the ship, and he's like, "Oh, it was the part where Wim was just like, he was like, you are a Jedi, right?" And he was like, "Of course." Like, yeah. It was that scene, and they were like, "Oh, we have to go back for our robot friend," and he was just like, "Oh, it's a droid." Like, you're fine.
I like that these kids are as attached to SM33 as I am. Already.
Yeah. And I love that he speaks like a pirate. He's like, "Oh, hands off me, Captain."
Incredible. Hell of a 1-2 punch too, by the way.
Yeah,
like, talk about Rock'em Sock'em robots, man.
Bro. Oh, I will not. I guess it's not random. But since we had the same random thing, I loved how his blast shields like held the heat from the firing, and he used it to sear the guy.
I thought it was like a pig alien, so it like squealed. I was like, this is great. Yeah,
I thought that was so cool.
Such great attention to detail, using something that we've seen before, but giving it some new context. I love it. Mm-hmm. Like I think there's a lot of things that this show's doing that are refreshing for Star Wars that I hope kind of like the DNA of it trickles into it. I have a feeling that by the end of this show, it's probably not going to be my favorite, but that's okay. I can still appreciate a lot of the good things and cool things that it's doing, and I hope it inspires other Star Wars creators that are going to be up and coming and doing things to think outside the box, or like kind of play and or realize that the sandbox that the creators of the Skeleton Crew were using they have the same tools available to them to be just as unique and interesting with it. So why don't we move on to our discussion topic, man? This is going to kind of like close out our show. So this we'll probably spend a lot of time. I think there's a lot of discussion to be had about it, and it should bring us into several facets of the show. But At-Attin being an unknown planet was teased, but the fact that it's like a lost treasure planet is something that we found extra exciting and interesting. So how this plays into the show could have dire consequences and make the stakes of the characters a little bit higher, but even affect like the New Republic in ways that are a catalyst for the broader story. I'm going to hand it off to you just to give me your thoughts on how do you feel about At-Attin not quite being, it's not necessarily like the Mcguffin, but like
it's a M-sumthin. It's something. It's not a McGuffin, but it's something. Name of this episode.
You read my mind, man. That's what I was gonna pull you and say that.
So let me ask this question before I make my statement, because your answer might totally derail my whole thing. At any point in time when we were on At-Attin, did they say or use the words that it's like a republic city?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so pre them saying that it's a treasure planet, my crazy theory, I always like to hold on to a crazy theory and pray for it to become true. What if At-Attin is like a first order city? And it's like a hidden city that's actually like raising kids up to like be the troop for like the first order,
the stormtroopers and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
and everything. Because when they were like doing like the assessment test, they're like, "Oh, I want to be like an analyst and this, that, and the third." And that's why I was like, I just watched both episodes, so I didn't really have time to go back and like rewatch again for my second watch through. But it had me thinking like, damn, I don't remember them ever saying that this was like a republic city or like a city that was like that blossomed or came to be post Empire that's unrelated to like Palpatine and the evil shit. So I was like, damn, like what if this is a suburb of evil motherfuckers? And that's why it's like off the map, like because like the first order bubbled up beneath like the
I really do like that idea. My literal only rebuttal to it is just that I feel like the First Order and the Empire are like speciesist, not like their version of racist. Like,
right.
No one in the First Order was an alien, right?
True.
But there's plenty of aliens on this planet.
Neil could go in the basement. We don't never see work in the basement. Basement of the Death Star.
Well, Fern talks about the dungeons.
That's what I'm saying. But like I said, the whole treasure aspect kind of like took me off that a bit, because it seems like that is going to be the more important thing, identifier for the planet. But I was thinking like, oh, that'd be really cool if this was like a colony of like, empirical supporter people who just like are like, the South will rise again. And they're just like keeping the lights on until, the Empire rises up again. I thought that'd be cool.
Well, in some ways, like, listen, I'm just going to be honest, like the suburban vibe, not for me.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't.
And I'm glad that they're off the planet. However, to kind of like, if At-Attin was, cut off from the rest of the galaxy, maybe it makes sense that it would develop like Earth, right? And that's why they did it the way it is. And it's like, there really aren't outside influences. And the whole barrier or whatever, like definitely
that didn't work.
Yeah. Well, it's like it makes me wonder, right? Like, is that barrier something that from the inside is fine and like people can escape, but if a ship were to come back, maybe the barrier just like swallows starships whole, or they're none the wiser on the surface.
Or it could be on some like The Village type time, like there's monsters out there, so it's like it's a barrier, bunny quote barrier, right. Like because like they were freaking out, like, oh shit, we're gonna hit the barrier, and then nothing happened. Like so like maybe that's just something that like they tell like the kids growing up. So like maybe it is like a planet, maybe not necessarily. It could still be like a separatist planet or like a empirical supporter planet, or if it is just like a group of people who just was like, you know what, fuck the good side and the bad side. This ain't for us. Like, let's get out of it. And they just like found a place that was away from, the Jedi and the Sith. And they're just like, hey, like, we don't need people finding this place. So they just like tell everybody like, oh, it's a barrier. Like you need access or codes and blah, blah, blah to get out of it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like not a real thing. So many possibilities. This show has so many like threads that they could follow, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, no, there's we're gonna speculate like crazy.
Oh, 1000%.
But I think that there's just whatever they end up doing, I'm sure will be fun. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like all of the myths and tales come from someone who took for granted what they had on At-Attin, and like the real treasure was like the home that they had there and how it was like conflict free. And now that they're in the galaxy, it's like You know, there's a lot more turmoil and danger outside of our bubble that we had on At-Attin, the barrier. Right?
Maybe that's the treasure. Like, it was a safe haven, like removed from the war. Like, it was a place that was like not involved in the Clone Wars or the Empire. Like, maybe that's the treasure. Like,
right. So I could see all these pirates showing up and being like, "What the fuck, man? It's just a planet with a bunch of buses and schools and shit."
Yeah, like Treasure Planet, like how it literally was the planet was the treasure.
Yeah. No, but like, I would not be surprised if there was some, you know, inspiration from Treasure Planet, and like that's part of what it is. There is also maybe there is something on At-Attin that, like, okay, the surface is there. They clearly have a lot of people who are. They made a lot of emphasis around the career paths for the children, and these kids were young. Right,
First order soldiers, baby. Trying
they're
to
trying
raise
to
them
push
up
them into
early.
something. So while I don't, I really like your first order point. Maybe it is in service of protecting the treasure that's on the planet for whoever's the controlling body, right? And that could be its own little thing. And for all we know, the treasure on the planet could have broader consequences for this, new war that is on the horizon with Thrawn coming back to the galaxy, right? I don't think this story has to connect to those things, but I will be honest, if it is something that does connect to those things, I'm probably going to care about it just a little bit more.
I do honestly feel like we're gonna kind of get like a obviously Star Wars, like, because it's such a familiar setting. A lot of it's gonna, like, we'll create connections to the Skywalker saga in places that probably it's not connected, because it's like, I remember that. But it's like, I do get the sense that this show is gonna kind of do like how Split did. Like, we thought Split was its own movie until the very end, and then it's a sequel from Unbreakable. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the last episode we do get like that tying piece into the Mandoverse, like that this wasn't as much of a standalone adventure as we thought it was, and it was like an adjacent story that will cross paths with shit eventually. I
do like that. It didn't happen on At-Attin, but I do like that. We've already seen Vane, right, who was in Mando season 3. Like, there's elements here of connecting to that portion of the timeline already. We've seen X-Wings in the promo footage, so I'm sure that there's some way that the New Republic's going to get involved wherever they end up. But there's definitely a lot here. We also know for sure that, like, there's going to be some of that, like, Amblin aspect, Stranger Things of, like, the parents are scared for their kids and all the parents are coming together and they're like, well, what's going to happen? Well, we got to do something. Maybe we need to step up. And there's their whole aspect of things. And that is I don't like
Fern's mom.
Right. Okay, so that's going to be happening on At-Attin. So I'm curious to see how those characters play into it. Maybe this is where we get redemption for Wim's dad as well, from an acting standpoint, and he eventually breaks his mold.
I think you might have actually just brought up a really good point that I didn't think of. Most of this show is going to happen off-world. Obviously, like, the kids are the focal point. The kids and Jude are the focal point in their space adventure, but they're is gonna have to be something that keeps us engaged with the At-Attin shit, and the parents just being concerned for the kid. I don't feel like that's a strong enough story to, like, make us care. Like, I feel like people will tune out when they go cut to At-Attin. It's the parents trying to figure out where there's like, all right, back to the adventure. So there has to be, like, another part of the story of At-Attin that's gonna, like, kind of like with Andor, like all that shit with the doctor. Remember, we were just like, this shit feels real out of place. Like, this does, it eventually didn't go anywhere. That was another McGuffin, like another thing that Star Wars was like, they made it seem like it was going to be a thing, but then no, like, it didn't really turn into what we thought. But it's just like the stuff on that. There has to be more to that planet, or at least more to that story, because, like, they're not gonna
not a McGuffin, but a M-sumthin.
It's a M-sumthin. It's a M-sumthin. Yeah. So you saying that, like, like whatever the story beat would be for the parents, that kind of definitely puts the battery in my back. That more has to be happening on that planet, because, like, just cutting back every other episode to show the parents freaking out Like,
it's not gonna right.
Yeah, that's like, no, who's gonna give a fuck? Like, Joyce Byers got busy. Like, she went to Russia.
Hell
and
yeah,
shit.
she did.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
she sure did. She went all the way to fuck to Russia.
Yeah, like she wasn't just like waiting to like for her son to come home, or for Hopper to come home. Like, she actually like went and did some shit. So yeah, like I wouldn't. Even in a 30-minute, 24-minute runtime show, like those 2 minutes where they cut the At-Attin and people are filing missing person reports, like I don't give a fuck about this. Get back to the space shit. So there has to be something in there to make us be like, ooh, what's happening?
Right. And I also feel like it's something that you could tee up small bits that get us there, and then maybe like second to last episode we've realized why At-Attin is the treasure, right? Like what there is so important, why the pirates would be interested.
Hold on. What if Wim's dad is like pushing to like leave the planet to go find the kids, and for whatever reason they got the barrier up? Fern's mom was just like, yeah, I know there are kids and we love them, but what if the rescue attempts are like get thwarted because like they don't want people to find the planet? And that's kind of like why wouldn't you want to go rescue your daughter? Type thing. Like, what if that's like like you were saying, like they plant little breadcrumbs as to like, why isn't she more concerned? Why isn't she maybe he files a report and like one of the officers like puts it in a desk, like it doesn't report it to anybody.
Or it's like one of those
like
droids that were like the proctors and the teachers, and they're like, we will file this away for safety.
And
then nothing about it gets done, and he has to start, like, breaking down the system to get through. And at the end, or what if Fern's mom is like helping him along, and then when they're about to like get off planet, she like tases him and is like, I can never let you leave.
Yeah, I could definitely see a scene where it's like, like the dad,
with the stars now.
They're with the stars now. Or like you said, like he like gives his statement to like one of the robots, and then like the next scene is just like, oh, report deleted, like some shit like that, or like like something like that. So that would be cool. That would keep me interested as to like why they wouldn't want to like send out rescue parties or like get help or send out messages. Yeah, I'm here for it. It better be something, because if it's just concerned parents waiting for the kids to come home, I'm not going to care.
For sure.
I'm not. Can I, before we like close stuff out, I'm not sure if you wanted to hit on anything else. One thing that I really, 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 really liked aesthetically, I don't think I've ever seen this in Star Wars, and if I have, it didn't leave a big impression on me. I love that we got to see like ships docked in space. Like, I thought that was like the coolest thing. I'm so used to, like landing pads or like airstrips, like on planets, and like, the Falcon parked up, like things like that. I can't remember a time like seeing like Star Wars ships like docked, like it just in space,
like a harbor, right?
Yeah. And I thought that was the coolest shit ever.
No, I like that too. I also like the little like air taxis where they were like bubbles.
Yeah.
Also, that thing that was piloting it is from like the Ewok. It's like that species is from the Ewok Adventures, like the Caravan of Courage.
Oh, fire
or whatever.
Let's go.
Like, nice, cool little plugin. I also, dude. I mean, we can go off on about a few random things here, but just to close up like the At-Attin discussion, there was something really funny kind of going around the social media where it's like, was At-Attin named At-Attin as like a play on words from everyone being like, oh, the At-Ats, or is it AT-AT?
Yeah.
So part of me wants to call it AT-AT, and I won't. But then I also was like, or what about At-Attin, like Attin Rand from Knights of the Old Republic 2?
We got options.
We got options. So let me just let me pour out some love for my. I guess he's gonna be my Glup Shido, like the random character that like. I love their design so much that I'm going to be wanting merch of this person.
Wolfman?
The Wolfman. You knew it, dude. I love it. He's got 3 blasters across his chest.
Flintlock pistols.
Yes. I was like, this design is amazing. Get me a Lego minifigure of that bitch. Like, I want it.
Yo, so, I know we didn't talk about it, but it definitely would have been a good if Fern didn't like, blow my mind with her performance. That the reuse of the New Hope opening ship fight again. We got another one of those. Fire.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
It was really good. When that wolf came out, when the Wolfman came out and shot everybody, I wanted him to howl so bad. like when he just knocked off everybody and they're like, oh, the ship sure is. I wanted him like because he knocked everybody off. Like that shit would have been fire.
Yeah, if he's the big bad, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to sound.
He gives like second-hand minion energy.
That's like I felt like I thought he was going to be like a non-verbal lieutenant. Like I didn't think he was going to talk or or maybe like if he like snarls that like only his close compatriots understood. Like, but then when he started talking, I was like, oh shit, let's go. He talks.
Well, whoever designed that character, fucking fire.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
They're so rarely in Star Wars. Like the only other one outside the Cantina that is any notable or any notability is the Jedi from the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars. That shows up at the very end of the first season. Like I just love that like random Wolfman design. I'm a big fan of it.
Nah, he's really fire. I like it.
Anything else you wanted to talk about before we close this bad boy out?
I'm trying to think. I think we've touched on everything. Neil's one-liners throughout the show, throughout both episodes. I love the part where Fern was like, can you cover up his trunk? He's like, no, I don't talk through my trunk.
I don't talk through my trunk. I also like when KB is like, tell us who you have crushes on.
Oh, yeah.
And Neil is like,
he gives it a real quick.
Right away.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying the show. Quite a bit. I wonder if one of those little like a line that didn't seem like much, but I feel like might be important. So we know Fern's mom is someone of importance because she like was like doing the whole career day shit. When Fern was telling the story about like her grandpa, I wonder if her grandpa is like a big person.
I like that idea a lot
on this world,
especially when I think there's something there actually because Fern's mom says, "Hey, I found this. Like, not everybody is."
Oh, yeah, first in your class.
Yeah, for greatness type thing. Like, not everybody has this, and it's like maybe her grandfather is like the high up that's controlling At-Attin. So to bring it back to the conversation we were having, I really like that you brought that up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It could be something that ends up playing a role later on. So great call out. What
if Luthen is her granddad?
Yo, unfortunately, doesn't line up with the timeline. However,
that'd be great.
I do love a good Skarsgård appearance.
Skarsgård.
Before I let you close this thing out, obviously just want to plug our socials. You can follow us at the letters A and I, Are You Okay, on Instagram. And you can follow me at Mikey the Illest on Blue Sky. I'm kind of like helming that as my personal end, this podcast account.
Let's get it.
Because I said goodbye to Twitter for my mental health, and it's been great. It's so much more positive on Blue Sky.
I love that. I love that for you.
I can't say more positive things about the community over there. And then our sister podcast, Dragon Ball for Life, where Matt and our good friend Travis talk all things anime. They are covering Dragon Ball Daima with our friend Miss Majin.
Shout out to
you
Bex.
guys have been absolutely crushing it. I've been having such a good time listening.
Bro, Daima After Dark went off the rails.
Oh, that one. Yeah, so you get Safe for Work content here. I promise you they're bringing it over there as well. They're getting bad after dark over there. Let me tell you.
How about these late night recordings get a little crazy.
You guys are getting a little too spicy. You're getting a little too spicy. They're gonna hit you with that explicit warning on the album art, dog.
Hey man.
That's how you know it's good, though. That's how you know it's good. You can follow them at the letters DB, the number 4, L_pod on Instagram, and we haven't quite figured that out on Blue Sky. However, our other producer, Dragon Paul GT, at some point soon. And you can follow us on Facebook at Dragon Ball, the number 4 Life over there. Also, if you happen to live in the tri-state area, or if you want to fly all the way out to Philly, we are 1 month away from Cospalooza 3, which is
Part 3,
cosplay
baby.
Dance party at Milk Boy in Philadelphia.
The one on Chestnut Street, not South Street.
Yeah, it's the Chestnut Street location. We have every time we do this, we get more and more people to come out. It's cosplay encouraged. You don't have to dress up to come, but we certainly love seeing everyone's costumes. We always do a contest with fabulous prizes, all of which are Dragon Ball themed this time around.
Yep.
And shout out to, some of our winners from last time. We had Gay Magneto, and he was fantastic.
He was great.
It was amazing.
We had the actual Winry, the lady who won first prize. She cosplayed Winry, and her profession was she made prosthetics for paraplegics. Incredible. So she was actually Winry from Full Metal Alchemist.
Super cool. Love to see all of that. Please come out if you're in the area and join us. We have DJ Anchi the Ray who spins the music, and we mix in some of the hits from today, yesterday. You got a little bit of emo in there. You definitely got a lot of fun and poppy hits, but there's also a lot of anime themes.
Video game themes, cartoons, like all the
I'm
nerd.
Pretty sure
excellence.
Everyone went off when the Yu-Gi-Oh theme played last.
1000%.
It was time to dance.
Y'all move.
All right, Matt.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm done plugging all of our endeavors. So why don't you close this bad boy out?
Animaniacs, like we always say here, in a galaxy not so far away. It could be Skeleton Crew. It could be Kyrie Irving, Uncle Drew. It could be We Missed You, Steve. We Loved You on Blue's Clues. It could be
Your dick don't work. You got that blue chew.
Ooh, Mikey C acting brand new. Or it could be Ray. Life can be a beach. You guessed it. As long as there's no sand, ain't he gonna be okay?
Be okay. May the force be with you, man.
And with you. Later, nerds.
Deuces.